Hi, everybody. We're here in NAB 2022 in the LiveU booth, and we're going to do a conversation with Oliver Parker from Blackbird about a joint project that LiveU and Blackbird did not that long ago with the election in Germany, I believe, right?
Yep.
So why don't we just start out with a quick introduction?
Sure, yeah. So I'm Oliver Parker. I'm the Chief Commercial Officer at Blackbird, and we're a cloud-based video editing software. So essentially what we do is we allow our customers to get to their content. That can be files or it can be live stream media. It can exist in any location, and then they create from it. But the difference about us is the type of tools we have in the browser environment are more complex and have more abilities than any other solution out there. So multi-track real-time editing with effects layers and all sorts of features and functions in there to allow professional content creation, but in live environments and quickly and easily as well. So.
Thank you very much. And tell me a little bit about, you already gave me the intro to Blackbird as a tool as well. Tell us a little bit about the RTL CBC project. What was the goal?
Sure. So it was quite an interesting one, actually, because breaking with what might be traditional broadcast convention, the broadcasters in Germany decided to work together on this project, and it was driven by RTL, and CBC is obviously the facilities provider who put this together. But there were a couple of things they wanted to do on the technical level, but I think really in general it was about collaboration. So RTL wanted to be able to bring in streams, multiple live streams to do with the election coverage, and we did this across 4 different elections last year. And actually, I think we're doing some more this year. We've just one that happened last month as well. So the streams are coming in. They're being gathered in the field. They've obviously also got studio content as well. And they want to be able to, as you would expect, create and clip up and edit that media as well as doing other things to it outside of Blackbird. But they also wanted to be able to share the streams and the content and collaborate with other broadcasters in the region. So I think from their point of view, like I said, without getting into the kind of the technical side of things, it was really about having a scalable and collaborative platform that allowed them to create content and work together. So.
And I kind of touched on it a little bit there, but what were some of the things on your mind of why Blackbird as a platform really matched that need exactly?
Sure. So yeah, I'm going to split that into 2 parts again. I think one again on the technical side. The way that Blackbird works is that we separate the user function, which is browser-based and in the cloud, from the media piece of it. So ingest and publishing and everything like that happens somewhere else. So what that allows us to do is to integrate into other solutions a lot better. We can be a part of a wider platform underneath us and allow access to that in there, and obviously do that in a scalable way. So that addressed some of the needs, but for beyond that, from the user, the user experience and the content creation side of it, Blackbird's the only tool out there that allows any kind of even reasonably complex manipulation of video in a browser environment. And with news, a lot of the fast turnaround content's pretty straightforward. You're going to mark an in point and mark an out point and chuck a clip out. But you do regularly need to go beyond that. We've got things like blur effects in the platform. We can do obviously multi-layer, picture-in-picture, interview style, edit layouts, transitions, and audio management, and so on. So Blackbird as a tool, answers some of the needs within the news environment that goes a little bit further than you would get from a simple clipping tool or something like that.
Gotcha. Definitely sounds like a close match. So you kind of touched very briefly on the scale. It was multiple elections, multiple times we've kind of done this joint venture. What can you share about the total scale? Like, do you have any stats off the top of your head? Hours of video, or?
I could try and do some maths, but no. I mean, so scale, as I mentioned, was really important for CBC and RTL from an infrastructure point of view on this project. So, as with most broadcasters, maybe not even traditional ones, but certainly traditional broadcasters, they have a fixed capacity in-house, right? So they can bring a certain number of streams into their studios, and they do that every day. They've got streams coming from LiveU units in the field. They can have streams coming from the Matrix as well. But the proposition to increase that beyond that capacity is quite hard, and obviously that scaling up like that for these types of projects is what cloud in general is good at. So they needed to go beyond what they had there, and as I said before, they also had contribution coming in from other broadcasters as well. So in the end, we were up to, I think it was 21 or 22 concurrent feeds coming in from different locations across the all of the elections, and all that coverage is happening predominantly over a period of a day or something like that. So you're bringing in whatever 400 or 500 hours of live content across every single day, each day of an election period, and on top of that we had other content coming in as well. So the way that worked from the live side was obviously the LiveU Matrix service was providing the handling of all of these streams into the cloud, and as I said before, doing other things outside of the Blackbird world with them as well. But then there's anything that comes into Matrix is becoming available in Blackbird. So totally scalable on the live side, but we also bring in file-based media as well. So the broadcasters can bring in supporting content, maybe some library footage, branding assets and things like that. So all in all, there's quite a lot of content in there. In terms of the scale of the operations, like I said before, it's an interesting one because of the collaborative nature. So CBC were hosting it, RTL was the driving force behind the project. But in the end, I think on the first election there were 4 different broadcast parties involved. I think a 5th joined later in the year, and obviously we'll see where we go this year. So there were 4 or 5 teams from different major broadcasters in Germany. Each of those broadcasters had people obviously with access to the media, and they were turning around quite a lot of content coming out of that for publishing and distribution. So yeah, for each of those elections as a single day process, it's quite a significant amount of media coming out of that. Which would have been, to handle the streams like that, to collaborate on them, and to create and distribute that would have been incredibly hard to achieve across 4 different broadcast estates with a traditional kind of setup if they weren't using Matrix and the Blackbird setup for that. Yeah.
It's really a use case for cloud scale.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And integrated solutions in cloud scale as well, right? Because that's the key. If you take 3 different things and just put them somewhere else, you're not really solving too many problems. But being able to scale and do it all, not just us scaling and you scaling, but do it together in the same AWS instance, creates a lot of power there.
So where can viewers who are watching the stream find out more about Blackbird?
The website's always a good bet. So you can go to blackbird.video and have a look. If you're watching the stream, you're probably not at the show, I guess. But if you're at the show, you can find us. We're in the West Hall. We have a demo booth on the Microsoft Pod as well, as we work with all of the public cloud providers to support that. But yeah, otherwise hit us up at blackbird.video. Send me an email on LinkedIn, whatever you want. We're always happy to jump on the phone and talk a bit more in depth about the workflow, how we work with partners, particularly partners like LiveU for these types of projects, and dig a bit deeper into the tool and what it can do as well.
What's the best dinner you've had in Vegas so far?
You know what? I don't think I've eaten a vegetable since I got here.
All steak, just raw bar steak, yeah. Raw bar steak.
I had some green. I saw some green on a plate. It was a pickle. It came with a burger. But no, I had tapas last night, so it was really good. Very good. Yeah, good. Can't complain.
All right, thank you very much. We really appreciate you coming on the booth.
Thanks, Dan.
Being part of the show.